Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Vraja Janaranjana Jaya Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Shri Shri Radha Madhava ki Jai Shri Radha ki Jai Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Now reciting verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 32, verse 1 to 10. Shrishukha uvacha iti gopya praghayantya pralapyantyascha chitradha rurudu suswaram rajan Krishna darshana lalasa. Sri Shukadev Goswami said, O king, having thus sung and spoken their hearts out in various charming ways, the gopis began to weep loudly. They were very eager to see Lord Krishna. Tasam avirabhuchauris Samayamana Mukhambuja Pītāmbaradharasragvi Sakshan Manmatha Manmatha. Then Lord Krishna, a smile on his lotus face, appeared before the gopis. Wearing a garland and a yellow garment, he directly appeared as one who can bewilder the mind of Cupid, who himself bewilders the minds of ordinary people. Tambilokyagatam preshtam priti utpulladrisho abhala uttastur yugapat sarvas tanva pranam ivagatam. When the gopis saw that their dearmost Krishna had returned to them, they all stood up at once, and out of their affection for him, their eyes bloomed wide. It was as if the air of life had re entered their bodies. काचित् कराम्बुजं शौरेर् जग्रे अञ्जलिना मुदा काचित् ददार तद्बाहुम् amse chandanabhushitam. One gopi joyfully took Krishna's hand between her folded palms, and another placed his arm, anointed with sandalwood paste, on her shoulder. Kachit Anjalina Grihna Tanvitambularvitam Ekadat Angri Kamalam Santapta Stanayor Adhat. A slender gopi respectfully took in her joined hands the betel nut he had chewed, and another gopi, burning with desire, put his lotus feet on her breast. Ekha Brukutim Abadhya Prema Samramba Vihvala Gnananti Vaikshat Katakshepai Sandashta Dashanachada. One gopi, beside herself with loving anger, bit her lips and stared at him with frowning eyebrows, as if to wound him with her harsh glances. Apara nimishat drikbhyam Jushana tanmukhambujam Apitam api natrupyat Santaschat Tacharanam yatha. Another gopi looked with unblinking eyes upon his lotus face, but even after deeply relishing its sweetness, she did not feel satiated, just as mystic saints are never satiated when meditating upon the Lord's feet. Tam kachinnetrandraena riddhi kritva nimilya cha pulakangi guhyaste yogi vananda sampluta. One gopi took the Lord through the aperture of her eyes and placed him within her heart. Then, with her eyes closed and her bodily hair standing on end, she continuously embraced him within. Thus, immersed in transcendental ecstasy, she resembled the yogi meditating upon the Lord. Sarvasta Keshava Paramotsava Nirvrita Jahurvirahajam Tapam Pragnam Prapya Yata Jana. All the gopis enjoyed the greatest festivity when they saw their beloved Keshava again. They gave up the distress of separation, just as people in general forget their misery when they gain the association of a spiritually enlightened person. Tabir Viduta Shokhabir Bhagavan Achyuto Vrita Vyarochatadikam Tata Purusha Shakti Biryata. Encircled by the gopis, who were now relieved of all distress, Lord Achyuta, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, shone forth splendidly. My dear King, Krishna thus appeared like the super soul, encircled by his spiritual potencies. Hare Krishna. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, your mute. Volume.
I'm sorry. Welcome back, everyone. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandasya ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकय चक्षुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवंश्च। श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सगणललिता श्रीविशाखावितंश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय श्री प्रभुपाद। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम पदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरतिशे नमः। O most magnificent incarnation, you are Krishna himself appearing as Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You have assumed the golden complexion of Srimati Radharani and you are widely distributing pure love of Krishna. We offer our respectful obeisances unto you. कृष्ण वर्णम त्रिषा कृष्णम सांगपांगोस्त्र पार्षदम यज्ञ ही संकीर्तन प्रायेर यजंती सुमेधसः. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the names of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. नानाशास्त्रविचारणैकनिपुणौ षड्धर्मसंस्थापकौ लोकानां हितकारिणौ त्रिभुवने मान्यौ शरण्याकरौ राधाकृष्णपदारविन्द भजना आनन्देन मत्तालिकौ वन्दे रूप सनातन रघुयुगौ श्रीजीव गोपालकौ. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis of Vrindavan, namely Shri Rupa Goswami, Shri Sanatana Goswami, Shri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Shri Raghunath Dasa Goswami, Shri Jiva Goswami, and Shri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who are very expert in studying the very expert in scrutinizingly studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. Thus, they are honored all over the three worlds, and thus they are worth taking shelter of because they are absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in the transcendent loving service of Shri Radha and Krishna. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरों चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयत्। नष्टप्रायेष्व भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्ठिकी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय श्री प्रभुपाद, जय श्री भगवत्पाद, Govindam Adipurusham Tamam Bhajami. Hare Krishna, everyone. Please accept my humble obeisances. All British Prabhupada. Welcome back, everyone. First of all, before we begin, I'd like to introduce you. It's my great pleasure to introduce Resham Mataji. She is from Florida, US. She's a great devotee. So I would ask Reshamji if you could briefly introduce yourself. Um, uh, Reshamji, can you hear me?
Yes, Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
I live in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I've been involved in Krishna consciousness for now 3 years. I'm learning a lot, and I welcomed myself to join this group today. I'm hoping that I learn the same here. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Wonderful, Mataji. Welcome. Let's all wish her, best welcome to her, please.
Thank Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandrat Pranam. Welcome to our group.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna
Mataji,
Mataji,
welcome to the
warm
group.
welcome to our group.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Mataji. Welcome to our group.
Krishna
Mataji, welcome you.
Hare Krishna.
We are going to soon meet everyone during the discussion period. You will see also, So before we start, Sharad Prabhuji, who is going to recap last week's class?
Yes, I'll be doing.
Okay, good. Please go ahead.
So Resham Mataji, most welcome to our group. I hope you will like the way the classes are conducted. And the best thing you will see are the slides, the PPTs which are prepared by Charu Prabhuji. And we have been learning, and I have been associated with Charu Prabhuji for about last 10 years or so. So with this, let us start with the recap of the last lesson, that is the lesson 20, the lesson 69, which we learned yesterday. That is chapter 31, the verses 10 to 19, the last 10 verses.
Sharad Prabhuji, let me tell you one thing. When Reshamji heard that we have been discussing Gopi Gita, she was so excited to tell me about that. So if you can just give a very brief introduction to Gopi Gita, so she could catch up with what we are doing now.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Gopi Gita. What actually happened on the Sharad Purnima day, Lord Krishna, he went to the Vrindavan forest and he started blowing his flute. And with that flute, he called immense number of gopis to that site, and everybody came. Now, after everybody came, they wanted to communicate with Krishna. They wanted to spend the night with Krishna. That was midnight. And then what happened? Krishna started attending to each of the gopis, and in that they thought, no, before that, what happened? The gopis were told by Krishna, why you have come at the middle of the night? You have left your children, your family, your all relations, and you have come here. Please go back. Then Krishna gave many reasons why they should go back, because that is dharma. And the gopis, they gave so many reasons why they should stay there. And finally, the rasa dance started. And after it started, what happened? Krishna started attending to each of the gopis. And what surprisingly, what happened? The gopis, they felt very proud. They thought, only Krishna is mine and he is attending to me, not knowing that he was attending to each and everybody. And also, this happened to everybody, all the gopis, millions of gopis were there. And then what happened? Krishna suddenly disappeared from the scene. The regions were two. the first reason was to show favor to Srimati Radharani, and second, because the gopis were very proud of associating with Krishna, he wanted to address that part. Then the gopis, they started looking for Krishna. They looked here and there. They asked the trees, the animals, the birds, whosoever was there. They asked. They could not find. Finally, they sang this Gopi Geet of 19 verses. And in the earlier class, we heard the verses 1 to 9. And yesterday, we learned about verses 10 to 19. And what happened beyond that, that we'll be seeing today onwards. Okay.
Could you also mention a couple minutes about how and why we do this recapping, and at the end of the class, about 30 minutes, we also devote an interactive discussion also, how we conduct this recapping.
Yes, how we conduct the class in the beginning after the invocation prayer, so recapping is done. Thereafter, the class is conducted, and the last 30 minutes, that is totally devoted to question and answers. So I'll start with the recap of this the class. As you see in the slide, on the left side, the gopis are sitting on the banks of Yamuna, and they are lamenting. They are singing the Gopi Geet, and Krishna, he is hiding behind a tree, and he is seeing the gopis. The gopis are not able to see him, but he is seeing and he is observing each and everything what is happening. We go to the next slide. Okay, I'll ask short questions, and please be very, very brief in answering. Now, here, name the
Prabhuji,
four.
excuse me, Prabhuji, don't worry about the time. Today is a relatively much smaller class, so take your time what you need, okay?
Okay, Prabhuji.
Not today, we don't have that many slides.
Okay, Prabhuji. Yes, because I have got about 40 questions. Now, name the four.
40 questions. That's great.
Yes, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Name the four phrases which describe Krishna's captivating features. Only
Hare
the
Krishna.
features. We'll be talking about them in detail later on.
Yes, Prabhu. Four features is his smile, Prabhu, and his glances, and pastimes. Okay, and communication through his eyes. Okay, these are the four things, Prabhu. Four features.
Yes, as in the verse we came to know, Prasitam Priya Prema Bhikshanam Viharanam Chate Jnana Mangalam Rasisam Vido. Okay, we move to next. Yes. When Krishna and Balrama go to the forest to herd the cows, who walks in front?
Baldeva
Lord Balaram.
goes.
Baladeva or Balrama, that is correct. And when Krishna and Balrama go to the forest to herd the cows, what does Krishna do?
Krishna communicate with the gopis through his eyes.
Okay.
To call them to the Yamuna river, and the gopi understand and they try for that.
Okay. Any other thing?
He plays on his
Playing
flute and
flutes.
smiling.
And smiling.
Okay. And he walks where? Behind Balrama.
Yes.
He walks behind, he smiles, he blows his flute, he sees the gopis with sidelong glances, and that's what enchants the gopis. Then the next question is, when Krishna indicates the place of their meeting, do the gopis understand such indications?
Yes, they understand. They follow.
They understand from what?
His heart-touching ways, his tricky, joking words, and full of multiple meanings are indicated. To secretly meet a Sanketa Kunja.
indication, yeah.
Yes, the gopis, they understand from his glance. Now, what happened when the gopis remember his smile?
They are overwhelmed by the pain of separation.
Pain of separation. Why? Why separation? He's seeing them, he's in front of them, he's near them. But why this separation? Because he's about to go away and they will be separated. Okay, what else the gopis remember?
It's a talk, it's a tricks, it's a all glances, like
All
Okay,
pastime,
Yeah.
all pastime activities they remember.
yeah.
okay.
Joking words with the multiple meaning.
Yes, his tricky and joking words, double or multiple meaning sentences and words. That's what they remember. And why Krishna goes to Yamuna early in the morning and what does he do there?
To take a
Krishna
bath.
makes excuses to Yashoda that I am going for the bath, and actually he goes there because the gopis come there to fill their pot.
Yes, he goes to take bath but does not take bath. He
Does
stands
not take bath.
he stands under a kadamba tree, waits for the gopis to come there, and he goes wherever the gopis go. Let us go to the next slide. Now, in which pretext the gopis go to the forest?
Gopi say that we are going to do service of Gauri, especially Radha goes to Surya is the devotee of Radha, and she goes to worship Surya and this Durga Parvati Mata, and other gopis also take this excuse to worship.
Yes, on the pretext of Gauri Puja and Surya Puja. Now, what obstacles do the gopis encounter when they wait for Krishna to come?
Their superiors comes along with them, like Jatila and Chandravali's husband, Govardhanamala, and so their plans are foiled.
Jatila, Kutila, Govardhan Malla, they come and spoil their plans. Now, what does it mean when Krishna rests his hand on a friend's shoulder and twirls a lotus? What does it
Krishna
mean?
want to show that putting his hand on the shoulder of the friend, that I want to put my hand on your shoulder, and my heart is twiddling like this lotus flower for you.
Okay, he indicates to the gopis that he wants to put his hands on the shoulder of the gopis, and twirling of the lotus means a desire to be with the gopis. Okay, next. Venugita is sung in what?
Purav Rag,
Urbarag. And Gopi Gita?
sung in
Vipralamba
Vipralamba.
Vipralamba.
What is Purva Raga?
meeting, before meeting.
Before meeting.
Yes.
That is the raga, that is the attachment before they have met Krishna.
So they heard about him. They heard about him from other acharyas and so on like that. So that's where they developed a great deal of attachment for the Lord.
And what is Vipralamba?
That is sung in
Separation.
Pain in separation.
Separation. Okay, what?
So these are the Shringar Rasa, which has two components: Vipralamba, separation, and then Sambhog, the ultimate meeting. But the importance of meeting, the value of this meeting, can be realized through this separation that Krishna creates to increase their longing for him.
Now in the verse Viharanam Chate Dhyana Mangalam, what are the two meanings of Viharanam?
To walk with friends,
To walk with
Walks
friends.
with friends.
and then
In
and
this is-
along with next is walking with Radhika, Lalita, Vishaka, Chitra, and so on with his all gopis.
okay, this has two meanings, one in Purvaraga and one in other. What are they? They just a hint.
Walking with ladies.
Walking with friends is what? Purvaraga.
Purvaraga.
And to walk with the ladies, that is Radha, Lalita, Vishakha, Chitra, and the other gopis. Okay, what is the meaning of Rahasi Sambido?
Intimate
Confidential
conversations.
talk, communications.
Anything else?
But through his eyes, through eyes only.
Rahasi Sambido means the loving words of Krishna and that touch the hearts of the gopis so much that they fail to remove the remembrance of those conversations. They are not able to forget them. Always these words, these sentences, they always remain in their mind. They are never able to forget. And what do the gopis conclude?
They believe
That
that
the
their
interactions,
yes, Mataji, go on.
that their
Go on.
interactions were based on the love, but now that is nothing. Krishna is cheating them, and he is a hypocrite.
Yes, Krishna is a cheater and he is a hypocrite. Okay, we'll go to the next slide. What aspects does verse 10 describe?
That talks about intense emotions, complexity of love and longing for the Lord.
And
And
anything
it's
else?
a bittersweet
Bittersweet nature.
nature. It's a dual, it's opposite meaning, bitter and sweet, both together. That is
Okay.
Sambhog and Vipralamba, both.
Vipralamba and Sambhoga.
Yeah.
And what do you understand by bittersweet nature of separation?
It increases longing to meet Krishna, and after at the time of unity, it gives more intense, deep love.
You mean his presence initially brings happiness. Initially, the gopis are very, very happy, but ultimately it leads to suffering. Now, the next question, what all aspects are cherished by the gopis? What all aspects of Krishna? They are always remembered by the gopis.
So,
Uh,
yeah,
His
go ahead.
smile, his glances, playful pastimes, secret conversation. These are cherished by the gopis.
Yes, smile, loving glances, sidelong glances, playful pastimes, and secret conversations. He means something, he says something. Okay, next slide. What do verse 10 speak about?
It shows the
Complexity.
complexities of love, tension as well as tension between joy and sorrow, both.
Okay, and they constitute what? The gopis? Devotion to Krishna. They are the greatest devotees of Krishna. And what else? Complexities of love. Yes, anything else?
deep spiritual longing.
Spiritual longing. Anything else?
Intimate pastimes with the gopis, his secret communications headed by Sri Radhe.
Tension between joy and sorrow, because they are joyful also, and they become sorrowful also. Now, what are the 4 captivating phrases described in verse 10?
His smile, his affectionate glances, communications, and secret communications, and
secret communication. Yes. Now, slide 8. Now, what does his smile symbolize?
joy, warmth, and divine allure that draws gopis towards him.
And anything else?
It reflects the nature of divine.
Okay. Anything else?
And it brings deep spiritual longing and connection.
Yes, deep spiritual longing for connection with the Supreme
Gopis.
Lord.
Sorry, Lord.
And what is understood by affectionate glances?
It is deeper than that.
Significance.
Oh, go on, Prabhuji.
No problem. That's a carry. It signifies a deeper emotional significance, Prabhu. Recognition of intimacy, all those things.
Anything else?
This shows exchange of love between Krishna and gopis, divine and devotee.
Signifies joy and spontaneity of their spiritual relationships. Their relationship is spontaneous. And what do you understand by intimate pastimes?
It is the playful and loving interaction between Krishna and gopis.
And this is the essence of bhakti. And what do you understand by secret communication?
The intimate and personal nature of divine connection. To emphasize.
Intimate and divine nature of Sri Radha and the gopis, connection with the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. There is deep trust and understanding amongst them. Okay, we'll go to next. Okay, in that verse, Suratavardhanam Sukanasanam, what are the gopis asking from Krishna in verse 14? What do they want from him?
They desire for the nectar of the lips.
Nectar of his lips. Okay.
What does it signify? Nectar of the lips, what does it signify? Sanjeev Prabhu knows that answer. Sanjeev Prabhuji?
Yes, so that is like the he's like his Krishna Katha, yeah, the Katha that comes from his mouth. So that's why they also aspire that.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Go to the next slide. What is the nature of divine love or prema?
Divine love is the true love, selfless love, and longing and suffering. All these qualities are there.
Selfless means they do not want to satisfy their senses. They do not want anything from Krishna. They want satisfaction to Krishna. Krishna should be satisfied. He should be happy. And longing, suffering, and intense emotional connection. They are suffering also, but that gives them pleasure. And this is what? This is the duality of human experience, Sambhoga and Vipralambha, which we spoke. Then the next question is, what do you understand by the struggle of the mind?
Inner conflict between desires and rationality. Double and mind often present doubts and fears.
Okay, any explanation on this desire and rationality? What is the inner conflict? A little more about it.
Gopis are sometimes gopis are joyful, and sometimes they have doubt and fear that they say that Krishna is. They take doubt Krishna may cheat us.
Okay, but their ultimate desire is to unite with him, to be with him. Why? To give him pleasure, not for their own pleasure. And what do you understand from the statement? Their pain is not an obstacle.
Means that because of the pain, they get much more deeper realization of love. Like it's the suffering due to the separation from Krishna in the context of their love. The pain is just not an obstacle, but a catalyst, as written here, for deeper devotion and longing.
Yes, the pain is assisting them for greater devotion and longing to be with Krishna. This is what pain is helping them, and that's why it is not an obstacle. Then we go to the next slide, slide 13. What do you understand by divine compassion and forgiveness?
The divine is ready to pardon and embrace the devotee, regardless of their feelings.
Yes, that means we
believe in Lord. Yeah.
we the common the human beings, whatever we may do, the Lord is going to pardon us ultimately, and He will embrace us, embrace His devotee, regardless of their shortcomings. He does not see the shortcomings at all. And what do you understand by the gopis statement about keeping Krishna's lotus feet on their breasts?
So that all their ill desires due to past karma and all from their heart can go away.
That means connection between the devotee and the Supreme Lord, that is the divine, the connection between the devotee and the divine. And who are the gopis?
They are Nitya Siddha Bhakta.
Nitya Siddha
Ragatmika.
Yes.
Ragatmika Bhaktas.
And Nitya Siddha means what?
Perfect
never fall.
Eternal, perfect soul. Perfect.
Eternally perfect.
Eternally perfect.
And eternal means what? From what time?
Forever. There is no starting and
Time
ending.
immemorial.
Eternal.
We cannot quantify this time.
We can't. Yeah, there is no
have been-
time.
Yes. And what do you
what
mean
is
by
the-
Ragatmik?
What is the other aspect of the Nitya Siddha? Then there is a Sadhana Siddha. What that means?
There are two Nitya Siddhas and Sadhana Siddhas. Sadhana Siddhas, they do sadhana and they perfect themselves. But the Nitya Siddhas, they are already perfect and they are eternally perfect. And they have been perfect from time immemorial. And they are with Krishna, and they help them, rather assist them, assist in the various leelas of Krishna. And what do you mean by Ragatmika Bhakta?
They are basically
they follow the. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, they are eternally. They are Nitya Siddhas. Basically, are associate of Lord Krishna in Vrindavan.
They worship both Radha and Krishna in Madhurya Rasa.
Raga Atmika. Raga means attachment. Atman means very self. It's devoted to Krishna, attached to Krishna.
And that comes to them automatically.
They descend to material world as part of his entourage.
They are always Ragatmika Bhaktas. And when somebody says somebody is a Raganuga Bhakta, what is the difference between Raganuga and Ragatmika?
We have to follow the path of the Ragatmik Bhakta to progress in devotional service.
Like we cannot be Ragatmika Bhaktas. We at best we can follow some Ragatmika Bhakta and come to some level. Okay, the next question is the gopis want Krishna's presence over material concerns. What liberates them from conventional attachments? Point number 6.
There's the transformative power of love. Their love overtakes everything. Love to the Lord.
Yes, their devotion to Krishna,
Yeah.
power of their love. Okay, we go to the next slide.
Actually, ये भी आ सकता है ना, rejection of social norms and in favor of their devotion to Krishna.
What?
The gopis' rejection of social norms in favor of their devotion to Krishna.
Yes. What is very prominent in them? Their love for Krishna. And that is, what is that love? That is devotion for Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, then next, how do the gopis feel about their eyes blinking? When their eyes blink, in that duration, they are not able to see
जब उनकी
Krishna.
आंखें पलकती तो उन्हें लगता है कि एक मिलेनियम पास हो गया, क्योंकि ये ब्लिंकिंग की वजह से वो कृष्णा का दर्शन नहीं कर पाते हैं, तो उन्हें लगता है कि ये मिलेनियम की तरह ये एक आंख, और बनाने वाला कितना फुलिश है ये कि ये क्यों बनाया है.
Like when we blink, we do not see the difference. But the gopis, they are so much attached to Krishna that that 1/16th of a second, when they are not able to see, they think it is as if millions of years they have not seen Krishna. And what they do, they criticize the creator. Who is the creator of this material world? It is Brahma. Truti Yugayate. Okay, next question. In spite of their love, longing and devotion, the gopis, they feel slighted when they meet Krishna again. Why?
Gopis' jealousy and disappointment when they meet Krishna, they express their pain and challenge him.
The gopis, they are also jealous, but their jealousy is transcendental. And their disappointment, they force them to challenge Krishna, since he left them at night and it was midnight. Okay, go to next slide. The gopis suffering on account of Krishna's disappearance reflects what all? Krishna disappeared, and that's why the gopis suffered. And this thing reflects what all?
Prabha. Gopi suffering aspects of me, like human experience, connection with the divine amidst worldly distraction and separation.
That means when they are separated, they want connection with the Supreme Lord. and the destructions and the separations. Okay. How time can compress and stretch?
When they meet Krishna, the time is very short, and when there is a separation, that 1/16th of a second looks like a millennium.
And why this is happening like this?
Due to love, Gopi's love with Krishna.
Yes, because their intense love for Krishna and their longing to unite with Krishna. Next, slide 17. The gopis had a bad fortune and it was in their destiny to suffer. What does this indicate? What does this mean?
When they suffer, they call it bad fortune. They're suffering.
Okay, anything else? Because of these external circumstances they were suffering, and these external circumstances may seem to influence one's spiritual journey. There everything was spiritual. Everything of the gopis are spiritual. To be with Krishna, to give pleasure to Krishna. But inner response is crucial to growth. Okay, we go to next slide. Okay, what do verses 17 to 19 they illustrate? What are the key points?
They convey emotions, feeling of love, anxiety, and desire for closeness and with the divine.
And also the depth of their longing for Krishna, their devotion for Krishna, and what you said, the emotions, anxiety, and their desire for closeness to Krishna. And after hearing all this, how did Krishna behave?
He maintains, he behaved like a playful yet enigmatic demeanor.
Yes, he was playful. Okay, next slide. What was the gopis' empathy about?
Yeah, when Lord used to go to take the cows, and they were worried that his feet are so delicate that may prick with that grass there.
Yes,
So yeah,
the stones, pebbles there in the
yeah,
path,
yes.
and how they pain his lotus feet, and how he endures them, and the ability to put their beloved's needs before their own. They were thinking about that. And what do the feminine divine Shakti represent?
Love, devotion, and creativity.
Love, devotion, and creativity. The next slide. True existence is realized in what? True existence, like the gopis,
Completely dependent on Sri Krishna.
dependent on Krishna, that is their relationship with Krishna.
Yes.
And what do you mean by moksha? Is the aim of the gopis?
Union with the super soul.
Union with Krishna, to be with Krishna, and the aim was to give him pleasure. And what is central to this narrative of this Gopi Gita?
Divine is not just an abstract concept, but a playful interactions with devotees.
Krishna's playful nature, and divine is not abstract, is the Jnani's thing. It is a joyful and dynamic relationship. That is what the gopis, they prove to everyone by this Gopi Gita. I have finished, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sharad Prabhuji, and thank you all of you also, the participants. So Reshamji, you could say that, previous week's class, we kind of recap through this interactive discussion, that way we get a lot more than within the actual class. That's the reason we do that. Okay, and then of course, at the end of the class, we have interactive discussion, and then when we meet next day or the next week, we reconnect with all this thing what we have gotten that. Okay, so let's get to the today's class. So I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay, everybody's able to see my screen now?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. All right. So today, last week, we did that class lesson 69, and today we are doing lesson 70. This is a theme 9 of the Vraja pastimes, and this is from chapter 32 that has 22 verses. And there are two themes in this we are going to be discussing. The first one, the first 15 verses of these 22 verses talks about how the gopis gave up their distress due to separation when Krishna heard that entire Gopi Gita, and he realized how deeply the gopis missed him. So he now comes in open and meets them and meets among them, so that Vipralamba, the separation is finally over, and then he reappears among them. So now that reappearance is like Sambhoga or meeting, and of course now the gopis are having a mixed feelings. They have anger also, that why did he disappear in the first place, and what was the reason for that, and now that he had come, so what's more. So then now Krishna is going to answer their questions on why he was withholding his loving reciprocation, because Gopi's love was intense, the attachment was intense. They overcome their family attachments. They leave everything behind. When Krishna summoned them in the middle of the night through his flute song, so immediately they left whatever things they were doing, middle of it, they left like that and immediately rushed to the forest. Now, some of them were, of course, stopped by their family members, but the others they left because of Yogamaya influence and all the Nitya Siddha's association. They could come. Those who could not make it, that we already covered that, they were because they were not really appropriate, but they were already having association with their husbands, and they had children with them. So that Yogamaya did not think that was appropriate, and they did not receive the association of the Nitya Siddhas. However, their spiritual form got to meet Krishna, and they enjoyed that association in their Swarup form. Now here, so the second part, Krishna is going to begin to answer all these questions, why he did not reciprocate their love that he himself called them, and all these things. So he's going to answer that questions, and ultimately he is going to say, Na paraye aham. That means I cannot, for my sake, you abandoned all the family attachments, everything, including even the Vedic injunctions, just for my sake, So I can never ever repay that what I owe it to you. So that is what ultimately what he's going to say, verses 16 through 22. Okay. So in this verse, now gopis are very pleased, of course. And now you can see this picture. All these different gopis, they interact in their pleasure, in their joy with Krishna in different varieties of ways. And the ways they interact with Krishna, some gopis touched his left hand, some gopis touched his right hand, and so on like that. Some embraced him, and so on like the varieties of different ways. But from there, our acharyas deduce who were those gopis. It turned out they were the first of them. There were those eternal gopis that what we call Nitya Siddhas. The first, there's this principal 8 gopis. So we are going to learn something in this slide that I've summarized. What we call the hierarchy among the gopis. Okay. So Shukadeva Goswami describes, as you can see in the slide, the very first point, describes Krishna's mood upon his return among the gopis who were hankering for his sight, just to have an appearance from him, just to have a look at him. They were really suffered a lot for that. So this is called Krishna Darshana Lalasa. Lalasa means intense hankering to have a glimpse of Krishna. So finally Krishna came among themselves. So gopis' air of life re-entered their bodies. They were almost to the point of dying, actually, and they could not even die. We saw in the previous class that they explained to Krishna that cannot die because their very life air is within Krishna, So now when Krishna returned among themselves and Krishna explained the situation, they came back to their life, And then personal expression of the ecstatic love of the principal gopis. So now this is what I'm going to, this is what the highlight of this particular slide that we are going to see. In fact, we are going to see next verses 4 through 8, how the acharyas are going to deduce who were those principal gopis one by one, 8 gopis, by simply the way how they interacted with Krishna, beginning with Chandravali. And that itself will show you a hierarchy. And then obviously the gopis now relieved of all the distress they've had during separation from Krishna, now they become ecstatic and seeing again their beloved Krishna. So Krishna took their seat among themselves. As you can see, some Krishna embracing with gopis, and some gopis lap, Krishna is resting, and so on like that. So many different varieties of ways Krishna reacted to each of the gopis. Okay. So here in this tabular form, what I'm showing you, the connection, how gopis interacted, actions of the gopis, and their description, how the acharyas, especially Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Jiva Goswami, they're going to deduce who were the gopis. Okay, they knew the nature of each of the gopis, each of the principal 8 gopis. So they did not want to submit when the gopis their action because of to Krishna's advances for conjugal love. So their anger was there in the beginning. Okay, and when Krishna immediately advanced for any this conjugal interaction, they did not want to participate in that. to showing their anger, why Krishna did not reciprocate their intense attachment, intense love. And in anger, sometimes their eyebrows movement they showed, especially we'll see about Srimati Radharani. But unlike Radharani, who is in mana, Chandravali, who is more submissive nature, immediately touched Krishna's hand he took with her. So expressing their individual feelings that are different according to the each particular principal gopi that we are talking about, okay? Because of their different way of interacting with Krishna. Some having a very kind of submissive kind of attitude, like Chandravali, and exact opposite is Srimati Radharani, who is in tremendous mana, Then honoring Krishna, how did they different ways they honor Krishna? Appropriate emotions to conceal, to submerge their affectionate anger. They all had anger, of course, definitely, but there are varieties of different ways they suppress their anger. Radharani came out openly. Chandravali and other gopis was submissive nature. They remain submerged that anger. And what are their thoughts? Previously, Krishna abandoned us, but now he has come for his own enjoyment. He did not come, according to some of them, that Krishna did not come just because we desired. He came back because he missed the conjugal attachment that he had with them. Okay, different varieties of different ways they interpret. And of course, some of them they are praising Krishna because finally he did show up, nevertheless. Your feet and hands are extraordinarily cool, having relieved us of the painful fire of separation. See that? In a very taunting way, they are saying to Krishna that you came not for us, our sake, but your own selfish interest, It's a kind of a love that is their way of expressing their love, attachment, their intimacy with them, with him. Having relieved as of the painful fire of separation, you are truly the pleasing moon who have no distress or sorrow. And of course, their anger became slightly angry, even though their anger had somewhat reduced, nevertheless, due to the ecstasy of seeing Krishna. But that overwhelmed them, so their anger is suppressed now, So from these different ways of each of these gopis interacted with him as they saw him, our Acharya is going to make a kind of deduction. Who are these gopis, and that we'll see in the next slide. The complex emotions. So this is we are talking about first few verses, okay? The complex emotions of the gopis as they navigate their feelings for Krishna. What do we mean that? Navigate their feelings. So the varieties of different ways they're expressing their feelings also, Their initial resistance to his advances reflect a mix of playful anger and deep affection. Remember that anger is not a kind of a real anger, it's a playful anger, okay? And by glancing at him with expressive eyebrows, so many different ways they interact. They never needed to speak the words, through their eye movement, they can communicate a lot. So they communicate their feelings without words, showcasing the depth of their relationship. That much kind of intimacy, these principal gopis they had. And the acharyas, philosophical, their comments they make, they're showing what is the philosophical significance behind what we just heard. Okay, and here I'm just giving you the two of those points. There are many. Okay? The act of honoring Krishna while concealing their anger illustrate the nuances of love and devotion. So we have been talking for past several weeks, we have been talking about the divine love, love between not just the conjugal love, a love between two lovers, okay? But what we are talking about, the divine versus a devotee, that kind of interaction, our acharyas are making special point of that, you know. So their praises, albeit tinged with little bit sarcasm, in a taunting way, they used to say what they felt after a long separation from Krishna. They reveal a longing that contrasts with their frustration. So, see, we are seeing a paradox of different emotions and how they interact, how they amalgamate. That all these things we are seeing from these examples that our acharyas are pointing out for our benefit. So, the imagery, the optics of Krishna's hands and feet being cool and soothing against the backdrop, their emotional turmoil highlights their internal conflict. See that? So, question about how they were able to balance their affection at the same time their anger, suppressed anger, because Krishna betrayed them. Undoubtedly, Krishna betrayed them, you know. But ultimate objective of Krishna was to increase their longing, and that's what they clearly reciprocated with that. The second point the acharyas are making, philosophical significance of that, as they express their feelings, the gopis embody a dance of emotions. Again, dance of emotion means what? Different kinds of emotions. They keep trembling all around. Happiness, anger, betrayal, all these things. So there's love, there's anger, and they're playful teasing Krishna. And they intertwine with each other. So this interaction not only emphasizes their devotion. So this is what the divine love is all about. You know, there's a atmiyata, closeness is there, intimacy is there, so they could share their feelings with him quite openly. You know, and Krishna would enjoy that, but also reflects the intricate dynamics of relationship, particularly in the context of love, the divine love we are talking about, that transcends mere physicality. So, because this is a very important point actually, and our acharyas are pointing out that those of them, those people who are not actually in a devotional mood, devotees, they understand, but non-devotees, those who are physically so much engrossed, they could perhaps even misinterpret this interaction with the gopis and Krishna. So to correct them, this is what acharyas are saying, that this interaction, even though apparently on the surface it's like conjugal, young boy and young girl, that's not at all the case. And tomorrow we are going to see even, tomorrow means the next week. Next week we are going to even see much deeper aspect of that, you know, that particular subject that these acharyas are talking about. That Krishna's love, even though it looks like a kind of a sexual overtone, overtune, our Sridhar Swami Maharaj is pointing out that Krishna's so-called apparent that kind of sexual overtone is not at all that. It is purely on the soul level, Atma level, you know, not on a physical level. Because both Krishna and the gopis, their bodies were totally spiritual, transcendental. There was no difference from their soul from their body. Both are actually transcendental. So there cannot be the question of physical or sexual kind of overtone, you know, because sexual overtone is due to the material mode of passion. Okay, here they are completely, both gopis and Krishna, they are on the transcendental platform. So their interaction is all through their soul meeting together, union between the soul of a devotee and the soul and Krishna himself, divine. So that we need to understand very clearly, and that is what these acharyas are especially making that point. The lingering trace of anger, and that anger is also transcendental anger, not the real kind of anger. Lingering trace of anger, because remember, anger is the outer manifestation of the Rajoguna. So this anger is transcendental anger. Amidst their ecstatic joy speaks of the complexity of human emotion. So this is the different complexity of different kinds of emotions. They intertwine with each other. That is what we are saying here. Okay. So now Sukadeva Goswami is describing Krishna's mood upon his return among the gopis who were hankering for his sight, Krishna Darshana Lalasa, that we have been talking about. So gopis' air of life re-entered their bodies. So that thing is going on further in more verses. So we are still talking about first 3 verses, okay? So Krishna returned to his beloved gopis who were longing for him, Krishna Darshana Lalasa, out of anger and jealousy. So what I showed you before in the previous slide of Acharya's comment briefly, a little bit more expansion here. If we see in actual verses, verses 1, 2, 3, the Sanskrit words they are using in their verses, that what is their significance, this is what I'm trying to point out to you, according to your Acharya's explanation. Okay? So what happens when Krishna reappears among the gopis, and that Sukadeva Goswami is narrating that to Parishad Maharaj? So what he uses sarcastically, remember previously in previous chapter we saw Sukadeva Goswami is pointed out that Krishna is indeed the son of Yashodamaya in Vraja. Every Vrajvasis knew that very clearly. Okay, but now here, when Krishna gives so much pain of separation, I mean long absence from the gopis, and how gopis went through the turmoil, emotional turmoil, how much they suffered, they came pretty close to dying. So that really touched the heart of Sukadeva Goswami. So that's what he's saying to Parishad Maharaj in a kind of a taunting way, and a little anger also is there against Krishna himself. Remember, Sukadeva Goswami is a great devotee. Don't doubt about that. But even a devotee can express anger toward the Supreme Lord in that kind of loving devotion. So what is he doing that? He's addressing Shauri. Shauri means the son of grandson of Surasena. Surasena is the father of Vasudevji, Krishna's father in Mathura. Okay, so they are Kshatriyas, whereas Krishna's parents in Vraja, Nanda Baba, or other Brajvasis, they are Vaishyas. Okay, and Kshatriyas, they have very hard blood because that is needed in fighting in wars. Okay, so they have a comparatively a stoic heart, hard, not much emotions. So addressing Krishna as a Shauri, that means he has a Kshatriya spirit. So he has a very hard heart, did not even understand the gopis' tender feelings of emotions. And gopis had to go through that turmoil, that pain of separation for such a long time. Related to the Kshatriya spirit of Maharaj Surasena or Vasudevji, Kshatriyas in general, Vaishyas, the Brajvasis are Vaishyas. Vaishyas means those who take care of the cows and so on like that, and farming and that kind of profession. They have a relatively much softer heart. So he is expressing his anger indirectly that way. Second point, Krishna was broadly smiling now. So that is again, Acharyas are explaining in a kind of a mixed way. that how could Krishna could afford to smile even, because now he is entering among the gopis who are suffering like anything, close to death, with that kind of very painful situation in their suffering. He is smiling. So, as my Sanskrit word is called smayamana. So, broadly smiling, even while the gopis were suffering. Although the suffering pained his heart, so Krishna also went through that, but he's hiding that and he's showing his smiling glad, because he knows inside that his smiling ultimately makes the gopis very, very happy, you know. But here it's the wrong timing. That's what Acharya is pointing out. Just to give them pleasure, Krishna appeared before the gopis with a yellow shawl, and that he was hanging it over his shoulder, the ends going on the both sides of his body, draped across his shoulders. And another important point that uh, he is folding his hands like this, apologizing to all the gopis that the pain he caused them, you know. So yes, of course, he's folding his hands, asking, apologizing for that. But he also were wearing a long garland. Remember, he wears Vajayante Mala, right? So this long garland made of jasmine flowers that was actually made by Srimati Radharani. So he's pointing out to that how much he cared for Sri Radhe also, you know. So that is to smoothen their anger, you know, soften their anger, that he is trying in a very intelligent way. So he wore a garland to show the gopis that Radha had given him. Krishna is, and then again another characteristic that pointing out, Manmatha, Manmataha. Manmatha means Matha in a Sanskrit. Matha means to churn. So Cupid, Kamadev, what he does to ordinary souls, conditioned souls, he really churns their mana, the mind, chinchala, you know. So that way, a kind of a sexual attraction that he creates, that so the society can flourish, you know, Brahma's society creation. So he is known for that Kamadev, you know, Cupid. English word is Cupid. So, but here Krishna is the Cupid of the Cupid. He even bewilders the Cupid's mind as well. That's why it's called Manmata is Cupid, Manmata, Manmataha. So that is where he does that. So directly he's the Cupid of the Cupid. So nobody can beat Krishna on that. So the gopis' life has returned, as we just saw, Agatam return to their hands, feet, and their other limbs. And then they stood up on seeing Krishna's return. So the word Agatam is repeated to make it clear that the swooning gopis means what? They were in great pain. So now they are recovering from that. They are recovered only because of Krishna's return. Okay, now we are going to see in this next 2-3 slides up to 7 points. Here, 3 points I'm showing you. What acharyas are going to explain how they made deduction, the way the gopis interacted with Krishna as soon as he appeared among themselves. Okay, and that reflected the very nature of each of the. This is particularly the first 7 gopis of the 8 principal gopis. Okay, and the 8th one is by default. They by elimination they conclude the 8th gopi must be so and so. Okay, so the first one, as soon as Krishna entered among themselves, the very first one was Chandravali. So what she did, the first one with explicit eagerness, shyness, she's shy also, obviously, because she is a very submissive type, and reverence, with great reverence, but Radha is a completely opposite kind. So she touched Krishna's right hand because she was right on the right side of Krishna. So immediately she took Krishna's right hand and put her on her shoulders. So how the acharyas make a connection with that? Because she is a very submissive type, and so there are two kinds of gopis, two groups of gopis. One is called Dakshina type, it is the submissive type, right angle, and so Dakshina Swabhava, nature, very docile. Everything what Krishna says, they will agree with that. They will never challenge Krishna, unlike Radharani's group. Okay? So right wing of the gopis and fully subservient to Krishna. And what is their attitude is this: I belong to Krishna. Unlike Krishna, when gopis, Krishna is all mine and mine alone. So that possessiveness is different kind. Here they said that we are the possession of Krishna, not Krishna is my possession. So that is called Grita Sneha. This we discussed in our course on Ujjwal Nilamani, how pranaya leads to sneha. So there are sneha, there are two different kinds of sneha called Grita Sneha and Madhu Sneha. Grita means it's ghee, the clarified butter, So that is like a very easy to melt, Whereas Madhusna is sweetness, increased sweetness is there. So Radharani is of that kind. So from first one they identified the way how Chandravali reacted. So that, and she was the first gopi to do that. Okay, so that is Chandravali. They reduced, and the next two gopis in verse 4 is Shama or Shamala Saki. This is the semblance of submissiveness. Again, she belongs to the Chandravali's group, obviously because of that. So there's a reverence is there. Okay, but here she is kind of a Shamala is kind of a mixed kind. So there's the reverence is there, submissiveness there because of Chandravali's association, but she has a mixed Grita and a Madhusneha. So there is a little bit like Radharani's nature is also there. So embraced. How did they do that? How did they receive Krishna? They embraced and touched Krishna's left hand because they were on the left side of Krishna. And they are, remember, we also talked about in terms of hierarchy among the gopis, there are four kinds of gopis, right? One is Swapaksha, so Radharani's own party, own paksha, own side, own group, and Chandravali's own group. So each group of the gopis, Swapaksha of they belong to their own party. But then there's a Vipaksha. So Radharani's group will be considered as a Vipaksha to the gopis of Radharani. Okay. And same way, Radharani's group of gopis, like Vishaka, Lalita Sakhi, they would have Vipaksha feeling of Chandravali's group. Okay. So there is Swapaksha and Vipaksha. Then there is a called Shrurita Paksha. Even though gopi belonging to particular group, say Radharani or Chandravali, they still would have a soft feeling, affection for their opponent's party. So this Shyama or Shyamala is of the Shrurit Paksha. Even though she belongs to Chandravali's group, but she still has some soft feelings for the Radharani's group. Okay, so that is what the acharyas immediately deduced from the way she did. So she was submissive, Dakshina Swabhava, right wing of the gopis, and fully subservient to Krishna. Both I belong to him and he's all mine. So because of this mixed nature, I am his possession, Krishna's possession, and Krishna is my possession too, like that. So that is called Grita Sneha. Then the verse 5, again they identified two gopis, two principal gopis, Padma and Saidiya. And they also belong to Chandravali's group, but had Grita Sneha. So one gopi took Krishna's chewed betel nut, Tambula Charvitam, in her joined palms. So that's because of their Dakshina or Dasya Swabhava, submissive nature, and placed Krishna's right foot on their breast, also in this kind of subhava, submissive nature. So now we are going to see verse 6. So verse 6, they immediately could tell that must be Radhika. Why? Because Radhika, even Krishna entered, the other gopis, this kind of their anger subsided, but here Radharani maintained her anger with a very sharp eyebrows and everything, looking at the anger as if burning down. Krishna could very immediately get the message that she is very angry. So with depth of love and loving anger, Mana, that's called Mana, bit her lips and stared at Krishna with frowning eyebrows. She doesn't say anything yet. Okay, just through eyes, she's projecting her anger towards Krishna. How dare could you do this to me like that? Very harsh glance, and Krishna definitely got affected by that. So she has this Madhu Sneha. Immediately, our acharyas deduced that, and she has called, unlike Dakshina Bhava. Dakshina Bhava is submissive. Vamya Bhava is very, very dominant. Krishna is all mine and mine alone. How dare Krishna could do that? She is Krishna's, but nonetheless, Radharani is Krishna's foremost consort, and Krishna likes that kind of nature also. Because Krishna faces the challenge in that. And Radha Tattva course that we did, we went through all these things so many times, from so many varieties of different angles we saw that. Okay, the next one is verse 7. Here they could immediately see it must be Lalita Sakhi. How? Looking with unblinking eyes upon his lotus face, constantly seeing Krishna, okay, because she missed it so much. But even after deeply relishing his sweetness, she did not feel satisfied. Satiated means satisfied. Krishna is giving his full glance and attention only to Radharani. The next verse 8, it's Vishaka. How could they tell? She took the Lord through aperture of her eyes. So through eyes, she took, entered Krishna through her eyes within her heart, and she closed her eyes as if that Krishna cannot escape again from her sight. That much deep attachment. She took the Lord through aperture of her eyes and placed him within her heart. Then with her eyes closed and bodily hair standing on end, she continuously embraced him within. So she's not doing outwardly. Because remember, she is the Sakhi, very, very dear Sakhi of Radharani. She would rather have Radharani meet Krishna, and she would do everything possible to make that possible. So she is taking a subservient role, So Radha is there. So in front of her, of course, she is not openly embracing Krishna, but within her heart, that she took Krishna through her eyes, and then eyes closing, she traps Krishna in her heart, and that's why in that way, she is associating, enjoying with Krishna's company. So these seven principal Sakhis, they already identified, okay? So now the only principal Sakhi remaining by default, by process of elimination, they deduce the last one must be the Bhadra Sakhi, the 8th verse. And that is actually given in Vishnu Purana. She began to repeatedly sing his name, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. She could say nothing else. So these all seven Sakhis, seven gopis, principal gopis, they were deeply, deeply attached to Krishna. And they went through that ultimate separation, the pain of separation for all this time. Okay, so we are going to see much more hierarchy, much more to say about hierarchy. So in verse 9, the comparison of the gopis' release from suffering. So now they're gradually, of course, overcoming the pain of separation. Krishna is among them. So that ecstasy is now going to overwhelm their anger and all these things. Okay. So Krishna mirrors the relief that devotees experience when they encounter elevated souls. These are definitely Ragatmika Bhaktas we are talking about. So this draws a parallel to the Bhagavatam, emphasizing the transformative power of the divine association. See that? Divine association. That this Ragatmika Bhakta, by varying their soul, they're attached to Krishna. But if we follow in their footsteps, okay, so their footsteps, devotees are devoted like that, and they worship that. So their devotee association, they could experience the same kind of attachment feeling like that. Okay. So verse 10 now explores the intimate bond that is developed between Krishna and the gopis. So their happiness directly influences Krishna's own state. So Krishna is also going through all these things. Remember that. As gopis went through the separation, pain of separation, Krishna also suffered that in between. Okay? He was longing to see them also, but he had a bigger objective to increase their longing for him. So such a mutual relationship underscores the depth of their love, paraspar love, mutual love, indicating that the gopis are not merely devotees, but direct manifestation of Krishna's own divine essence. In fact, they are the really very form of Krishna. These principles, 8 gopis. So here the hierarchy, these acharyas are describing that, and there are 2 different ways they do that. I'm just showing one kind of. Okay, so there are, as Sharad Prabhuji keeps mentioning so many times, there are 3 billion gopis. Okay, and now don't ask me about how a small place like Vraja could encompass 3 billion gopis, millions and millions of cows, and so on like that. Because Krishna can stretch the time as well as he can compress the time also. He is beyond time and space limitations. So there were 3 billion gopis assembled in that Rasa Leela. Okay, out of that 16,000 of those 3 billion gopis, they were actually that particular time in Rasa Mandala assembled that. And out of the 16,000, 1,000 were more prominent. And even within their 1,000, 8 gopis were the principal ones. And among those 8 gopis, Srimati Radharani and Chandravali are the 2 main gopis who are very, very dear to Krishna. Okay. And Chandravali is on the completely opposite side, subservient, completely docile. Everything what Krishna wanted, she would do that. Radharani would present challenges to Krishna, the Vamya Sabhav versus Dakshina Sabhav. You remember all these things. So this Radharani and Chandravali, these 2 gopis were the principal one. And even within 2, and remember, they were actually cousin sisters. Chandravali's father and Radharani's father, Vishabhanu and Chandrabhanu, they were actually brothers. So they were cousins, first cousins actually. So they outwardly they had a kind of a adversarial relationship. Nonetheless, they had love for each other too. So they were the best. But among these 2, Radharani is the topmost. Krishna's very, very dear consort, is a super, super excellent gopi. And Radharani's love for Krishna is unmatched. Nobody can beat that. How much trouble Krishna gave her that we saw many, many times, Radharani still loved him so much. So let's take a 3-minute break. Okay, so we are. So you can recover a little bit. And if you have some couple of burning questions that we will of course talk about in discussion period, but you may feel free to ask me and I'll try. Anybody? So you can grab a glass of water or something.
Hare Krishna, Dandavad Pranam. So can I take one?
Yeah, Rajiv Prabhu, yes, please.
Prabhu, you did mention that in the previous verse, there are 3 billion gopis were there, but out of that 16,000 were present in the Rasa Mandala.
In that particular time, yeah.
Yes. So, I mean, in the only 16,000 gopis are...
It's not like that other gopis did not participate, but, you know, they gathered at that time, and there might be other time, there might be other gopis might be taken care too. There are circles, actually, they're concentric circles, these gopis were there. In the center, Krishna is dancing with Radharani, and then Krishna goes dancing with other gopis too, but in a concentric circles.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah.
Even when we speak this to the outside mundane world, here Vrindavan is a very small place. How come 3 billion people it can hold? You know, that is what it is.
Exactly.
In material world, we can't comprehend this particular figures, but in spiritual way, yes, we can. Krishna Max, he can build the millions of palaces on the tip of the...
He can compress time, he can expand time.
Correct. Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, that's
and
what.
Space.
Just that.
Time and space, both that so-called limitations of time and space, when it comes to Krishna, it's not like that.
Correct, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah,
that's what.
That is what the very definition of God. There is nothing impossible for God. There's nothing that he cannot do.
Correct. Yeah, that's what Radhana Swami also say, that one even he can build on the tip of a needle, he can build millions of palaces. But if you say why, how, then we are failed. You know, that's what he said.
There's a very nice story about Darad. Remember the two devotees he meets?
Yes.
One devotee said, how much time am I going to live? So he said so many lifetimes. The other devotee also said the same thing.
Yes.
But then said, what? So he said, no, you are going to live for about 3 or 4 lifetimes or something like that. So this fellow was a great Pandita. So I'm doing so much. How could Krishna do? Why Krishna should call me immediately, you know? So said, tell me, Narad Muni, I don't think you are visiting, but if you are really visiting Lord Vishnu, tell me what he was doing at the time.
Yes.
So Narad Muni tells him that Lord Vishnu was trying to pass the elephant through the hole
hole of the needles. Yes.
Yeah. So he couldn't believe that. You couldn't possibly have done that. But he went to other devotee and said the same thing. So, oh, he was dancing joy. That is my Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Okay, let's move on. So this is point number 3, 4, 5. Last 3 points. This Acharya's comments. So this is verses 11 through 12 in point number 3. The description of the Yamuna's bank. So after everything is subsided down, gopis were kind of softened their anger. Now they are feeling the ecstasy of that. So Krishna takes them to the bank of Yamuna, and a place of beauty and tranquility further enhances the setting. So see, look at how Acharya is comparing. The tranquility means the quietness or the steadiness of the Yamuna river compared with the gopis' emotional feeling also kind of quieted down. Tranquility is that quiet. Further enhances the setting for the divine interaction. So now, of course, Rasalila is going to take place. Okay, the sensory details create a vivid image of the environment, enriching the emotional landscape of Krishna's pastime, and everything is being coordinated by Krishna's Yogamaya potency. Exactly what is Krishna's Icha Shakti is there. She would do exactly what Krishna desired. Point number 4, there is verse 13 and 14. They delve into Gopi's act of devotion, illustrating their eagerness to serve Krishna with pure love. So they are going to have intimate time, but here the main desire of the gopi is to please Krishna, and their pleasure, Krishna's pleasure, is then there is their pleasure. That is what called prema versus a lusty feeling, where lusty they want how much my beloved can give me pleasure, give me the pleasure. That's their objective. So their longing and personified Shrutis, some of them, of course, were not Nitya Suddhas. Remember, I told you that. There are Sadhana Siddhas. And among Sadhana Siddhas, Shruticharis that we discussed earlier, Shruticharis are the one personified Vedas. By their association with the Nitya Siddhas, they become perfected beings. Okay. And then there are Rishicharis also we came across, right? Those rishis who were in Lord Ramachandra's descent in Treta Yuga, they were Dandaka Aranya, they met Lord Ramachandra, they were attracted to him, but Lord Ramachandra at the time was Ekapatni Vrata, you know. So he said that I will see you when I come in the Krishna Avtara. So now they took birth from the gopis' womb and they become gopis now. So they were all mixed kind of gopis were there. So final point, overall, these verses convey profound spiritual truth about love, devotion, that is attachment, and the interconnectedness between the divine and the devotee. So that is what you need to remember. These gopis are actually transcendental platform. Nevertheless, they are devotees of the Lord. Lord is the divinity, personified divinity. Okay? So this is the interaction between devotee and the Lord. That is what we are talking about. Not between young boy and a young girl. Complete relationship based on the soul level, Atma level. Capturing the essence of Krishna's pastime with the gopis. Okay, now we are moving into verse 16 to 22, the second part of it, where we are going to hear how Krishna is going to apologize to gopis. He's sitting among the gopis, as you can see in that picture. Krishna is the center is surrounded by the gopis, and of course it's a autumn night, full moon night is there, and now he's with folded hands. He's offering his apology, deep heartfelt apology to the gopis, and for his sake, he's acknowledging how much they gave up for his sake. So that is what we are going to hear about it. So these verses illustrate, and again, this is what our Acharya's comments, that is what I'm showing you here. Nothing is of my own, okay? These verses illustrate complex emotional dynamics, up and down that emotion level that we saw that, between Krishna and the gopis, highlighting the themes of love, separation, devotion, and then meeting again. Okay? The gopis, deeply troubled by their separation from Krishna, reflect on the nature of his love and their own feelings, questioning whether his actions stem from love, indifference, or enmity, because they saw that Krishna, he himself called them up, and when they came, he completely showed indifference. Indifference means ignorance. And then when the rasa took place, and immediately within the middle of the rasa, he left them deserted. He left. So all these things are there. So they were kind of mixed feelings that at the time they had now. Of course, this feeling is subsided now. Their introspection, introverted, पूरा अंदर देखना है, दिल के अंदर, you know. So they were thinking what to make out of it. Nobody can understand Krishna. Nobody can understand Krishna. Yeah. Introspection leads them to realize the depth of their devotion and their paradox, opposition things of Krishna's seemingly indifferent behavior. Krishna is it, like I tell you, keep telling you, Krishna is extremely, nobody, even great sages could not understand, great devas could not understand, even the gopis cannot understand. That's what it is, you know. And yet Krishna interacts with them. So they were trying to figure out why Krishna did that, you know. So now they are going to ask him all these questions. So Krishna's response reveals profound truth about the nature of love and devotion. So love and devotion means bhakti. He distinguishes between different types of relationships and reciprocation, emphasizing that true devotion is selfless and unaffected by material desires. So this is again the message to all of us. When it comes to Krishna, when it comes to Krishna Bhakti, material desires must take a back seat. The complete devotion, that's what is needed in order to follow in the footsteps of the gopis and senior devotees. So Banjari Bhava that we studied in our course on Mana Siksha, his acknowledgement of the gopis' unique love illustrates how they sacrificed for him everything they deserved, everything they left off, their own husband, their home, their so-called husband. Remember, they were not their real husband. They were married to the shadow gopis, and the children. It was not their own children, okay, their family, brothers, and so on, the children. Everything they left behind when Krishna called in the middle of the night. Even Vedic injunction, because they were violating the Vedic injunction, they're leaving their husband and going to see a young boy in the forest, lover, their paramour. So that is a violation of Vedic injunction. But even they didn't care for that also. So Krishna recognized all these things. So that is what Krishna demands from his devotees. For his sake, everything must be given up. Yudhishthira Maharaj never spoke a lie, but Krishna asked him to do that precisely. Narova Kunjarva, right? The dialogue culminates in the realization that Krishna's apparent neglect is in fact a means to deepen their attachment. So whatever Krishna does outwardly may look very bitter, very difficult to swallow, but there is always a silver lining what he does then, because he could see past, present, future. What is best for us? He is the best, overwhelmingly well-wishing friend of a living entity. Suhridam Sarvabhutanam. So here, whatever he does is ultimately for our ultimate benefit. Realize that Krishna's apparent neglect is in fact a means to deepen their attachment and devotion. The gopis come to understand that their love for Krishna and his love for them are intricately intertwined. What did Krishna desire? The gopis' love is the exact what we are talking about. That is what the love Krishna demands. Total devotion, unconditional surrender. But here that love, that surrender is also as a prema to please Krishna. Intricately intertwined, leading to the ultimate surrender and recognition of his supreme position. So this exchange is rich in philosophical insights and emotional depth. That's what we are seeing, that intricate, incredible depth of emotions, showcasing the complexity of the divine love and the transformative power of devotion. Each word has a deep meaning behind that. This gopis' journey from confusion and sorrow to now understanding and surrender highlights the profound nature of the relationship with Krishna, making timeless exploration of love and spirituality. And now Krishna is realizing all these things. Look at the change of heart Krishna is now. He is again continuing that. 1 to 2 to 8. Now we are going to see thematic highlights of those major philosophical points that we saw in the previous slide. Okay. So what is the nature of divine love? That we have been talking about quite a few times now. Okay. And that is continuing. The gopis' inquiry into the nature of Krishna's love leads to the exploration of divine love is multifaceted. What is become multifaceted? What does it mean? So many different facets are there. It's not that simple. Conditional love is rooted expectation and reciprocity. So on a particular platform, when the three modes of material acting here, we always we expect that our beloved should reciprocate the kind of feelings that we have for that, But here it's beyond that. There is no expectation, no reciprocation. Krishna does not reciprocate, and yet their love is intensified. to the pain of almost dying, So that is the kind of love. That is what divine love is all about. The distinction is essential in bhakti philosophy. Well, divine, so nowhere such bhakti is really mentioned, nowhere. That's here actually we are talking about in Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is nothing but devotion, pure love. There's a personification of bhakti is pure Bhagavatam. Divine love, that's why Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya, Nitya Bhagavat Sevaya. Model for human relationship. It teaches that true devotion is characterized by a giving spirit. You want to give something rather than accept something, expect something. So the giving spirit should be there. How deeply I can offer everything what I have to Krishna. And Krishna is expecting love, unconditional love. That's all he expects that. The gopis, so now separation and longing. There also this concept we are discussing from so many times, so many different angles we have been talking about. Okay? The gopis suffering due to separation from Krishna is emblematic, symptomatic of the soul's intrinsic longing for union. So we have a natural attachment for Krishna, but it's submerged. We need to reawaken that attachment for Krishna. And only we can do that through constantly hearing these pastimes between Krishna and the gopis. Shrutam Sokata Krishna, Punya Shramana Kirtana, Vidyantasto Bhadrani, Vidyanoti Srut Satam. Simply that. Simply hearing about it. Then what happens is the lower modes of material nature that's preventing us to come towards Krishna. So the 6 enemies are there. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Madha, Moha, Matsara. These are the outer manifestations of Rajaguna and Tamaguna. So when we simply hear about Krishna, he replaces those lower modes to Sattva Guna, so that by that we can come closer to him. And when we come to Sattva Guna, then the real pure devotion starts. And then pure devotion starts, Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam, the science of pure Krishna, pure love of Krishna, that develops in our heart. When that develops, the tight knot between matter and spirit, the tremendous attachment we have on a material level is completely taken off. All the karmic bondage of millions of lifetimes is completely dissolved. Shriyante chasya karmani. Then we realize drashta evatmani ishvare. So that is what I keep repeating those verses. So they are imprinted on my mind, constantly reminds me that. So all we need to do is simply hearing. Then Krishna himself takes care of our heart, cleansing the mirror of our heart. All the apparent difficulties which we face on material world, they are nothing compared to this. These are like bad dreams. We wake up simply by hearing Krishna Katha in the association of other devotees. So point number 3, selflessness and versatile conditionality. Krishna's differentiation between conditional and unconditional love reveals the underlying motivations behind human actions. Conditional love, so it should be unconditional love. That's what Krishna demands. And this theme emphasizes the necessity of nishkam karma, selfless action. Then Krishna's analysis relationship highlights the varied ways individuals can respond or failing to respond to love and respect. So this complexity of human interactions reflects deeper spiritual truth about connection. That is what we've been hearing about, the examples of gopis' love for Krishna and Krishna's love for them. That's what we are learning, divine love. And we can emulate, that's the part of it, just simply hearing about the Krishna's sweet innate pastimes with the gopis, then our heart gets purified. We become less and less affected by the lower modes of material nature. Because as long as we are hearing in the company of the devotees, then we come to the mode of goodness, sattva guna, chitta suddhi. Mind becomes purified, chitta suddhi, only through sattva guna. Point number 5, the role of suffering. So suffering for Krishna We do everything for Krishna, and there is no guarantee that we'll succeed or not. Nonetheless, even swim or sink, right? You swim, that's great. But even if you sink, it will be for his cause. That itself Krishna recognizes. So Krishna's Leela Shakti, divine play, that is what we need to keep hearing about it and keep purifying our heart and overlook the material difficulties. That is just part of the training wheel for us now. So we have to transcend that, and we have to look beyond our material difficulties, day-to-day difficulties in our material existence, and force ourselves, keep trying, and time will come. You begin to relish hearing this wonderful, wonderful, sweet pastimes between Krishna and the gopis. As our mirror of our heart gets become polished more and more, we will develop, we'll feel the love for him. Divine indebtedness and humility. Humility is the foremost part in such Krishna bhakti. There's the first of the 20 qualities that we develop, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, right? So Krishna's admission of being incapable of reciprocating to his devotion reveals a profound humility. So Krishna admits that I gave you a lot of pain. Okay. So that Krishna himself shows the humility to the gopis. Na parayaham, I cannot repay the debt I owe for you. The notion challenges the hierarchical perception of divinity, portraying God is intimately connected to the devotee's experience. See that these are golden words of our acharyas. It reinforces the idea that love is the highest currency, money, in the spiritual realm. That is what is spiritual currency, is this devotional love, transcending the dynamics of power and control. Seventh and eighth final points. The entire dialogue can be interpreted as Krishna's divine play, Leela, where he engages with the gopis in a manner that brings about the deepest emotions and devotion, demonstrating the playful nature of the divine. That is the playful nature. And Krishna is full of playful nature. The concept is vital in understanding the nature of divine interactions. It suggests that the divine often operates in a mysterious ways. Krishna always works in mysterious ways. No one can understand Krishna, and how he does, no one can say that. Nonetheless, without any expectation, we continuously keep hearing under all circumstances. You will see the transformation will take place in your life. The very nature, your very swabhava changes. The obnoxious nature, personality we may have, the first thing he develops humility, that nothing is my own, everything is being given to me by the Supreme Lord. And use that capability, that talents in Krishna's service, then Krishna can give unlimited flow his prema to us. That's in the second canto of Bhagavatam, that verse is there. Intelligence keep flowing if we use, and that's a spiritual intelligence. The gopis' realization of their flawed intention in trying to confront Krishna reflects a significant spiritual turning point. Their surrender illustrates the transformative power of love. I told you that. A dramatic transformation of a very swabhava takes place. That is the theme of my doctoral thesis. This theme resonates with the core of Bhakti philosophy. So this Bhakti philosophy, everything in the 46 courses I've been teaching to all of you, and by that I'm learning myself, is all about nothing but Bhakti, Krishna Bhakti, for the last 2 decades. So that gives me tremendous joy. The bliss, Shanti, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Yes.
So we
Hare
have
Krishna.
plenty of time for discussion.
Wonderful discussion, Prabhu. Wonderful session.
Thank you.
It
Thank
is
you
like
very much.
today's session is like a summarized of everything, Prabhu. That is what I felt. Yeah, very nice.
Prabhuji, I'm keep doing this thing, PowerPoints, and I keep reading all the time. It's just a tremendous feeling I get. It's just whatever we are reading in Bhagavatam, I'm actually experiencing that. Hare
You're
Krishna.
experiencing that bliss.
And
Yeah,
in
yes,
company of
Prabhu.
all of you also, you are helping me, all of you.
Yes, Prabhu. Wonderful session,
Yeah.
Prabhu. Thank you.
You have any
Very much.
point? You have any point to make, Prabhuji?
No, Prabhu. I'm good. Okay.
Thank
It
you.
was almost like ideal session, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank
Hare
you very
Krishna.
much.
Dhanyavad.
Hare Krishna. Any other
Hare Krishna
points?
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna,
Wonderful,
Mother.
wonderful session Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Thank you.
So
Dandavat pranam.
nicely explained प्रभुजी. प्रभुजी यहाँ पे हम एक शिक्षाष्टकम का लास्ट
हाँ, बोलिए
वो
बोलिए,
कर
प्लीज
सकते
कहिए.
आज
गाइए.
क्लिशेवाम पादताम पीनुष्ठमाम अदर्शनान मर्महता करोत्वा यथा तथा वा विदिता तुलम पटो मत प्राणनाथ स्वयनाथ. तो
Translation.
उसमें हम यही समझ सकते हैं भगवान हमारे साथ जो भी व्यवहार करे मगर हमें नहीं करना चाहिए, ऐसा नहीं करना, हमें बस हमारी भक्ति करती रहनी चाहिए बस.
राहुल जी यही समझना चाहिए कि भगवान जो करते हैं हमारी भलाई के लिए करते हैं, जो कुछ करते हैं.
हाँ, राइट.
उनका आखिरी उद्देश्य यही है कि हम किस तरह उनके पास जाएं. बस वैसे ही सोचना चाहिए हमें.
यस प्रभु जी, वेरी ट्रू. जो भी डिफिकल्टी आए उसको स्वीकार कर लीजिए हंसते हंसते.
डिफिकल्टी आज लगती
वो
है
एक
मगर
गाना है प्रभु जी.
हाँ,
हंसते हंसते कट जाए रस्ते.
वेरी गुड, वेरी गुड. थैंक यू.
थैंक यू प्रभु जी. हरि बोल.
Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dhanyavad pranam, Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhuji.
I mean, so basically one point it stuck to my mind that when you are explaining, so even when the gopis are feeling this Vipralamba Bhava, so Krishna is not enjoying. He is also feeling such pain.
Yes, definitely.
So that is what, because mundane world is like that. If the one person is suffering, so another person might be enjoying. So it is not that he has to suffer. There is no, because that is what we can see in this today's world. But spiritual world, Krishna never ever go in vain. That is what Neha Vikramana Ashwasti is saying, that one. So it is always, even if the devotees are feeling pain of that real separation, Krishna feels 1,000 times more pain than that is what Acharyas do explain here.
But he doesn't show up. He doesn't show up that.
Correct. So that is what just I thought. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you
And
so much for wonderful.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam. So nice. Prabhuji. Yeah, so nice. So it's coming closer and closer to Gopi, what Gopi represents, right? And their mood and interaction with the Krishna. So whichever way, again, that Shiksha Ashtam, whichever you treat me nicely or with whatever it is, I am always yours, right? Again, that entire, that mood is imbibed by the gopis. And how at the end, again, one thing we understand that despite all that obstacles, all the problems, how gopis invent, or how the gopis spiritually connect with the Lord, and that creativity and lot of words are there, right? So
absolutely.
So different ways.
And Krishna कितनी कड़ी परीक्षा लेते हैं उनकी. कड़ी परीक्षा लेते हैं. हम तो कुछ नहीं है. हमारी तकलीफ तो कुछ भी नहीं है उसके सामने.
Yeah, Prabhuji, one sloka you mentioned couple of times, that which puts, what is the sloka, that Srimad Bhagavatam, it puts that devotee into the mode of goodness. You mentioned that?
Oh yeah, that tada rajas tamo kam bhava lobha adayasche chet etir anaviddam stitam sattve prasidhati. So this kama krodha lobha modha mohatsara, they are the outer manifestation of Rajaguna and Tamaguna. So when we simply hear him, here is this wonderful pastime, sweet pastime with the gopis, with his pure devotees. Then simply hearing that, he removes the influence of the lowermost, and in that place he replaces it with Sattva Guna.
Yeah, that is the starting point. That is the basically starting point.
Then what happened? Evam prasanna manaso,
Uh-huh.
Bhagavad Bhakti Prayojita, the pure love, pure bhakti, then we can develop on the mode of pure goodness.
Yes.
Then Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam develops. Science,
Yeah.
positive science of Krishna. Okay. Mukta Sangasya Jayate, on this liberated platform. And then Vidya Hridayagantris, Chintyate Sarva Samshaya, Chiyanti Chasya Karmani. So that's what all three things are taken care of automatically. That is preventing us going towards Him. So He removes the obstacles on our path. And then Drasht Evat Manishware. Then we realize who we are. We are not this body, we are pure soul. And we are meant to serve Him. We are meant to be enjoyed by Him through our bhakti. And He is thirsty of only bhakti. He doesn't want anything from us. Isn't that great? Incredible?
Yeah, so nice. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay, Sharad Prabhuji, you take over, and by the time others might come up with questions. You might want to add something to what we missed. I might have missed.
Here, this
we always learn from you. I always learn from you something, you know.
This last verse, what we saw the explanation, there is a similar thing in Jayadeva Goswami, Gita Govinda.
Yeah.
Gita Govinda, there is a verse, I'll tell you the story also. Smara Garala Khandanam Mama Sirasi Mandanam Dehi Padapallava Mudaram. Now what happened, I'll tell you the meaning of this verse first. Krishna is begging to Srimati Radharani, I am taking my ears in my hand and I have done something wrong. I promise that in future I will never commit any such offense, and to be pleased with me. I am offering everything to you. Now, what actually happened when he was writing Gita Govinda?
Yeah.
At that time, he wrote this one line, Smara Garala Khandanam, Mama Sirasi Mandanam, Dei Padapallava Mudaram. That means here what is basically happening, the Krishna is catching the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani and asking for forgiveness. Now, after writing this, he paused. He said, how can I write this? How can Krishna catch the feet of Srimati Radharani? This cannot happen. Then what he did, he left his everything in the home, this writing material, and he went to take bath in the river. Then in the meantime, what happened after some time, his wife Padmavati, she saw Jayadeva Goswami coming there. Immediately he came, he entered into his study room and he wrote something, and then he said, okay, serve me food. Thereafter, Padmavati, she served food to him, and then he had the food and went to rest. But thereafter, what happened? After some time, actual Jayadeva Goswami, he came. Previously, what I described, that was Lord Krishna himself, in the form of Jayadeva Goswami, he had come there to complete that verse, which he had not completed when he went for taking bath. Now, when Padmavati saw him, he was totally surprised. He said, you have already come. You came here, you had the food, and you went to take rest. And now, what is this? Then suddenly something did strike to him. He went to his study room and he suddenly found that that verse has been completed, and he could make out that it is the Lord Krishna only who had completed this. That means he realized that I was not thinking at all wrong. I was thinking rightly. Krishna actually had caught the feet of Radharani, and because he was very apologetic. Like here in this 22nd verse, we said Krishna is saying, I will not be able to repay you. But there he was trying to repay in some other way, but that he was thinking that mood is not very correct. But ultimately, Krishna proved that it was very correct. Now, coming back to what we are talking about in the verses 8 onwards, like we have heard verse 8 about Vishakha Devi, that is one gopi who took the Lord through the aperture of his eyes, placed him within the heart, and closed the eyes, and her bodily hairs they stood up, and she embraced him within, from within, and was immersed in transcendental ecstasy. Now, here the various acharyas, they also comment, especially the Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he is saying that leading into the heart indicates the gopi, that is Vishakha Devi was thinking, may this fickle lover, that is Krishna, whom I have found by great fortune, should not leave me again. And thinking Krishna would escape through her eye holes because she had imprisoned him through her eyes. She thought, if I open my eyes, then she may run away. That's why she closed her eyes, and her body then erupted in goosebumps, ecstasy, and she stood there in a pose of embracing Krishna, and all her gravity was lost due to the intense hankering. And then, as we came to know the other gopis, how they are mentioned in verses 6, 7, and 8, because they did not go to the side of their beloved, they are understood to be uncooperative. They are not so cooperative as Vishakha Devi. And they thought Krishna should come to us, we should not go to him. And this mentality shows that these three gopis are full of possessiveness, and possessiveness towards Krishna, and this quality transforms their affection into madhusneha, honey-like affection, and that is there somewhat something like the Radharani only. But because these gopis, they think Krishna belongs to me, they are very intimate companions of Krishna, who have fully brought the Krishna under their control. Among these three, Sri Radha, the leader of the gopis, is mentioned in verse 6, and verses 7 and 8 thereafter describe Radha's principal Sakhi. Then in the next verse, that is the verse 14, Krishna, what is happening here? Krishna, he set up on the various seats laid out by the successive groups of gopis. There are so many groups, but it may be questioned, how could Krishna sit up on so many seats with his one body? Because Krishna is the controller, Iswara. He expanded his form into many without anyone noticing that. And in order to fulfill his desires, and as we know, Bhagavan, the Bhaga means desire. All the desires are fulfilled with his energy. Therefore, here Bhagavan is meaning Kamavan, who possesses desires. And as soon as Krishna's Aishwarya Shakti is noted, his desire to sit upon all the seats, and these forms were manifested by Yogamaya potency of the Lord, his internal potency, and everything became possible. And in the verse 22, we heard the gist of the complete thing. Now the Krishna is trying to say, now please hear what is going in my mind. Your association with me is faultless and it is totally unconditional. It does not depend on any condition of material desire, fruitive work, or worldly opinion, or any religious codes, dharma, or the injunctions of the Shastras. They are not applicable, they are not required at all. You are all saintly persons, and simply by your good deeds, you have done so good to me. It is not by coming into contact with something that you have become sanctified. I am incapable of properly reciprocating with you. Now, you see, the Lord Krishna, he is the creator of millions and billions of universes. Everything belongs to him. From the pores of his hairs, innumerable universes are getting created. And he has put various other people as to look after them. And still he is saying he will not be able to fulfill their desires. I will not be fulfill your desires. Now, this is very, very surprising. He's saying, I, on the other hand, worship you, but at the same time, I have my continued affection for you all. And I, for that matter, I have my affection for my parents, my brothers and friends, even though I have promised to reciprocate equally with those who surrender to me. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam tathaiva bhajamyaham. I have failed to carry out that promise in regards to you. I did not respond as you did by giving up your all the family members, all relationships, which is very, very difficult to do. And therefore, it is impossible for me to repay you for whatever you have done. Therefore, let your own pure character be the reward for what you have done for me. And although your character makes you forgive me for my fault and receive myself, receive me of my debt, still I remain forever indebted to all of you. And then the gopis then considered in their minds, even though Krishna, who is the supreme personality of Godhead, who is full of transcendental qualities, and he is devoid of the slightest amount of fault, and he knows about our love for him. And in order to establish the superiority of our love over him, for him, to make himself indebted to us, he has performed this act of giving up everything. And we who wanted to defeat Krishna and criticize him for his conduct with our various words, sentences, and riddles have been most immoral in our intent, whereas he desired only to establish our exalted position. We could never act like that. Thus, in fact, we have become conquered by Krishna's love. So this is what the gopis are saying. So as we have seen in the various leelas, Krishna always he tries to glorify his devotees. He always tried to prove that they are devotees, his devotees are greater than him. And as we have seen, like a pure devotee, if he blesses somebody, then that will have more effect than Krishna himself blessing him. That means he always proves that the devotees are greater than him, better than him in any respect. This is what is the ultimate learning we get. from this chapter 32. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, Prabhuji. Wonderful. Very nice things you said that, So many wonderful things you said. Any other points? Sanjay Prabhuji, you want to say something?
Yes. Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you very much. Very, very
Thank
wonderful.
you. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Like it highlights the whole, like again, it's all like you said, it was the visualization. How when you went through, we could just try to visualize the concentric circle, the way
We
the
should also
gopis
capture in our consciousness.
how the acharya then identify each gopi. So
Yeah.
that was wonderful. And one question also since I'm trying to hear to Chaitanya Charitamrita these days, so it also gives a parallel between like how Lord Chaitanya deals with his devotees, and it's similar to how Krishna deals with gopis as well. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita we have Jagadananda Pandit, and he's like expansion of Satyabhama. So there also it is like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu becomes so captivated and surrendered to his love. Like whatever he says, then he does. So that's it. And I had one question or thought which I'm not able to answer. You mentioned that and we covered in our previous course also, probably I missed, like all these gopis, they're actually Chaya gopis, and it is their shadow which get married to the gopas, right?
Yes.
Then at that time when these Chaya gopis at the home, the shadows are at the home, where are the actual gopis, the real gopis placed? And how do they see?
Yogamaya shifts them. And remember, even though the Chaya gopis were married, but by Yogamaya's arrangement, these original gopis, they had this kind of consciousness that they were married to have parakya bhav that Krishna desired. Even those unmarried gopis, they were already engaged with her. So they were also in that kind of spirit, now where they were hiding, actually both they kept coming back and forth.
There's a back and forth.
Yeah, back and forth. In fact, our acharyas mentioned when Krishna called them, they were coming there and they met the Chaya gopis. They saw that, So it again, depending upon how Yogamaya changes their conscious level, because that's the desire of Krishna himself, So this, where she's hiding, I don't know, but she keeps showing them back and forth, as if back and forth she's coming.
Yes, Prabhuji, like in Gopal Champu, it has been made very clear. If you remember, I think in the second half, around chapter 32 or 33, it is given at a particular day when everybody gathered in the field, then Katyayani Devi came and she told, go and call all the gopis. Now these people said, all the gopis are here only. She said, no, you go over to each house and call. Then they called all the gopis. Then that time only the Brajavasis realized there are two sets of gopis exactly similar.
Yeah.
That means one set was staying in their so-called in-laws houses, and one set was staying in their parents' houses. So this is what happened. This is very clearly given in the Gopal Champu.
And there we also learned that these gopis, original gopis, they were under that consciousness that they were married.
Yes, yes.
Even though they were not.
This was to create that parakya bhava in this material world, which does not happen in the spiritual world.
This next weekend's classes also we are going to touch upon that. I was just reading Sridhar Swami Maharaj comments, and he makes some very important comments that on that. Our next week's lessons will cover that. By the way, incidentally, next week we are going to do lesson 71 and 72 on the same day, day 1. And day 2, we'll do this, our skit, but that's not like a courtroom drama, okay? This is exactly we'll try to recreate. Parikshit Maharaj is asking questions, his doubts, and all these things. And then Sukadeva Goswami clarifies those doubts. That is what we are going to touch upon that, okay? And I already assigned a role.
Yes.
Radha Vinod Prabhu is going to play Parikshit Maharaj, and Sharat Prabhuji, I would like you to play Sukadeva Goswami. So this is a two actor kind of a, but in between the rest of us are also involved that in a way, asking question answers like that, So we'll touch upon that during the day. You think about it, and in between, if you find we can find some mutual time that you and I can talk about it, how we can coordinate, and you can prepare a script for that, okay? And we can have anywhere between 30-45 minutes. We should have that.
Yes.
So we all these different facets that we are discussing about it, that we will incorporate. I hope that devotees would like that. I hope, Okay.
Sure, Prabhuji. Sure, Prabhuji. We will.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Raksha Mataji. So let's
Okay,
have
clarification.
Yeah, clarification. What is that? Yeah, is Samantha Mataji is here? Maybe we can have a.
Yes, she's there.
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Samantha Mataji, Nashima prayer. I'd like you to do that.
Okay, sure, Prabhuji. Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Shri Krishna. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Praladaladaini. Praladaladaini. Hiranyakashipurvakshaha. Hiranyakashipurvakshaha. Shilatankanakhalai. Shilatankanakhalai. To Narsimha, Parato Narsimha. To Narsimha, Parato Narsimha. Yato yato yami tato Narsimha. Yato yato yami tato Narsimha. Ai Narsimha, Hridaye Narsimha. Ai Narsimha, Hridaye Narsimha. Narasimhamadin Sharanam Prapade. Narasimhamadin Sharanam Prapade. Tava Karakamalavare Nakam Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringam Keshavadripa Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Tava Karakamalavare Nakam Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Narsimhadev 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 Jaya Narsimhadev Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Jai Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jai Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Bol Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Ram
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
For
you
the
very much,
wonderful
Samata
place.
Mataji. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Prabhupada. So I look forward to all of you next weekend. Until then, I wish you all wonderful, wonderful week ahead. Resham ji, aap hai? Are you there?
Yes. Hare
Resham
Krishna.
ji, we
Yes, sir.
really enjoyed your company. I hope you keep coming back.
Yes.
If any way we can serve you, it'll be our great fortune, you know. And I think you will love this this wonderful small group, but we are a very dedicated group, you know, dedicated group.
Yeah, yes, no, I enjoyed it. I was a little bit confused when like how does Uddhavji Maharaj become so how does he like the gopis, when he sees the gopis, right?
Mhm.
He was a scholar, right?
Actually, yes, he was on a
Uddhavji
Jnana platform.
Maharaj- Yeah. So how does he get so convinced with the gopis? What do they do that he gets the eternal? I know that gopis had eternal love for Krishna.
Actually, that's the
How
reason why Krishna sent him that. Krishna had a dual reason. He sent him his own
Krishna
personal
sent him
messenger.
there,
Yeah,
right?
Krishna sent him there when the gopis were suffering the pain of separation. When remember, Krishna at the time was in Mathura. You know, it was a long separation. You know, so Uddhava was pleading with Krishna that please, you must visit Braja again. You know, so Krishna couldn't go there. So that's where he sent Uddhavji. Now Uddhavji, as you know, he's much more on a Jnana platform, but he wanted Uddhavji to learn that from gopis. So when he goes there and he sees how they were suffering and how their lives were really kind of pretty much close to dying, and that's where Krishna sent him with that message. And that message is what? That you will, Krishna sent a message through Uddhava to the gopis that I know you are suffering pain through separation from me, but if you meditate not on my impersonal form, but meditate on the pastimes that we spend together, then you, by my potency, you will feel my presence right with you. So that when Uddhavji learned about all these things, his whole persona completely changed. That, you know. So from Jnana platform, he saw what really that bhakti is all about, that we have been talking about. That bhakti is so that, of course, Uddhavji also has tremendous bhakti for Krishna, but his bhakti is more Jnana Mishra bhakti was there. But that point onwards completely changed that, you know. So I'm not sure if I answered you directly to your question.
I was curious how Uddhavji changed
His consciousness completely
his
changed.
feelings, his feelings towards the,
When he saw the gopis
and he saw
himself
the
from
gopis.
first hand he saw that gopis, you know.
When he saw
Saratman, you want to add something to Rishabji's question?
Like Uddhava, he told, I'll come back day after tomorrow. But as you know, he was so involved that he stayed there for 6 months. Now, basically, what happened? Uddhava tried, like Prabhuji said, he was trying to tell them and do meditation like this and bring Krishna within you and all that. But the gopis said, we want to take out Krishna from our lives because he has left us. He has done a treacherous job and we want to leave him. But he is not going even in, when we are seeing, when we are, our eyes are open, still then he is not going, he is always with us. And gradually, with all these explanations, Uddhava, he learned what love actually means. He had never seen or nobody had described to him what is the standard of the love of the gopis. As you see, like when the Brajavasis, they also came for that solar eclipse. And they met the queens of Dwarka. The queens of Dwarka, they could never think at what level the gopis were. In the very first place, they got totally confused about the beauty of Sri Radha. Like it is said that all the principal gopis had gone to see Radha, but initially they saw somebody very extremely beautiful, and they tried to offer obeisances to him, obeisances to her. Then they said, no, we are not Radha. We are the servants of Srimati Radharani. Like this, by the time they reached Radha, out of all the queens, only Rukmini was there and others left. They said, we used to think we are so beautiful, but if the Sakhis and the Sakhis of the Sakhis, if they are so beautiful and they have got such qualities, what we are compared to Sri Radha? Like this Madhurya Bhava, this was not known to Uddhava. And when he started learning, he took 6 months. Then he was totally transformed after that. So this we can talk later also. And this is very interesting thing. A Jnani who studied from Brihaspati, who had all the knowledge, still then he did not know the Madhurya Bhava of the gopis.
Right, he did not know love was the kind
Yeah,
eternal.
Exactly. The Sukadeva Goswami, he was also on that platform, Atmarama, and he, when Vyasadeva, his father, sent his disciple to recite some verses, especially that particular key verse, and immediately he changed and he came back to his father to learn Bhagavatam, Same thing about these 4 Kumaras. They were also in this Jnana platform. When they, remember that this is the time when they were about to curse the Jaya and Vijaya, the doorkeepers in Vaikuntha, and Krishna came running without shoes to prevent further damage to his associate Jaya and Vijaya. So when he was coming from distant, the aroma of the Tulsi Dala was applied to his lotus feet. Just that aroma itself completely changed the consciousness of the 4 Kumaras. So this bhakti is like that. And that bhakti should be coming from such high-class devotees. Then it will change the very consciousness of one who is hearing that. So Reshamji, we are very grateful to you. And we certainly hope to receive your association in the coming weeks, But I recognize you are very busy, I know that. But please try our best.
There's always time for Krishna. I do also attend classes with another Prabhuji, and he's local here. So I'm learning a lot from him, but I'm at a basic level. I think this is a little bit advanced for me, but I'm at a very basic level. We are still on Canto 2 of Bhagavatam. And like I said, we are in the chapter Cause of All Causes. So we are still in the initial stage of Bhagavatam. So this Gopi Gita is, I was wanted to hear all the time. Yeah, we always sing it, but we don't know the meaning as much. Yeah.
It's such a great depth. It has so tremendous depth in it, Thank you again. Thank you again. And we look forward to see you next week also, hopefully.
Yes, we'll try.
And thank you, Sharad Prabhuji. Thank you, Sanjeev Prabhuji.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Dandavat pranam.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Thank you, Bhaiji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol. Thank you, Sharad Prabhuji, Sanjeev Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
So, Prabhuji, Sharad Prabhuji, you and I will talk about it during the week.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.